Time to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. We are loud, live, and local every morning, 6 to 9:30 a.m. on FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740, HD 101.1-2. You can also watch us on social media, live and in color. Just go to YouTube, search for the Open Mic live stream, and there we are on social media. Who do you see right now? You see me, Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. Right over there, you see Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect. You also see Austin Pastolka, the Sultan of Sound.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. I am the Sultan of Sound, but today I'm going to be super relaxed, brother. Ooh, yeah. Oh, hold on one sec. Give me 1 sec.
Yeah.
Happy 420, ladies and gentlemen.
Stop it. Stop it. What are you smoking? The stalks off the corn in Nebraska?
I've got green tea, brother. Sativa and stuff. I don't know what weed is. I don't know what weed stuff is. I'm going to be honest.
Electric Kool-Aid. Drinking a little electric Kool-Aid.
Is it purple haze? Is that a thing? I'm smoking the devil's lettuce today, guys. Oh, another hit. Oh.
Playing the sound is the Prince of Production, Kelly Velez. In the studio, working hard, auditioning for a job on Open Mic.
In the building, ladies and gentlemen, feeling good on 420. In the studio, it's kind of smoky in here, you know.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. Oh man.
All right, we want to hear from you guys throughout the course of the show. Give us a call, 407-916-8255. Tweet us at 96.9 The Game. By the way, you can go vote on all of our Twitter polls as well at 96.9 The Game. You can also text us on our Academy Sports and Outdoors text line. That's 50857. We have 3 chances on the show to win $1,000 as we do every morning, starting at 7:10 a.m. this morning, and then 8:10 a.m., and then 9:10 a.m., and on the 10s throughout the day. We call it the Game Day Payday. Just listen for the keyword and then follow instructions. All right? We like to begin every show with an Open Mic early morning inspirational quote of the day. This comes from the great Truman Capote, who once said, "Failure is the condiment that gives success its flavor." Intellect?
The condiment, which is not the major part of the meal, right? It's just the sort of the thing that's on the side or just a little bit on top of. Listen, it is the failures that make your victory so sweet. You know, you wouldn't recognize how bright a day was if you didn't have to go through days that were dark. And so you learn to appreciate that little something that makes it even greater. Because condiments do elevate.
A little dab of mayo?
Yeah, condiments elevate the meal. What if you just ate French fries all by themselves? Nope.
Yeah, and didn't dip them in any mayo.
Yeah.
Do you do mayo?
Absolutely. French fries and mayo is the best.
Pat Dooley dips them in mustard.
Is his French fries and mustard?
Yeah, he puts his French fries in mustard. Yeah.
Y'all are disgusting, man. What is going on this show?
My fiance was telling me about how when she was a kid, she used to like to mix ketchup with mayonnaise, right? You know, and she's telling it to me like she's the only person who's ever done it, you know? And I'm like,
this is so crazy. You're never going to believe this.
I said, you're not going to believe this, but the Hellman's folks have ripped you off. They're actually selling that in the stores now. They call it fancy sauce. Must have seen you in a restaurant back in the early 80s and said, hey, that kid's on to something.
So the deceptive intellect was not on the show yesterday because he had a flat tire. We were debating, like Austin said, like he changes his own tire. I'm like, no, I call AAA.
Get out of here.
What do you mean get out of here?
You don't change your own tire either.
No. What I did was I got a little fix-a-flat that get me to the place, and then they did one of those old school where they stick that little rubber tube in there and they cut it off at the ends. You know,
You got it patched.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people who are poor do. You know,
I've got a patch kit. I got my own patch kit. I can do it myself.
What?
Absolutely. They sell them for like $10 at
you can do it yourself?
Yes.
Big factory.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, you said it was just the hole, right? Just the hole in your tire?
Yeah. You guys can do that? And like, here's the thing. Every week I put on, I don't know, about like 400 miles on my car driving back and forth. Okay. You guys feel comfortable on the interstate after you guys patch a tire? I wouldn't feel comfortable.
I still have a nail in my tire because it just slowly...
Hey, Mike, you want to know a guy who's not very, very comfortable with his patching skill? The guy who still drives around with a nail in the tire.
Yeah.
As opposed to going, hey, I'm
a fair point.
I'm like a junior mechanic. I can patch my own tire. Well, why haven't you done it? Well, I'm just haven't got around to that.
Because it's still just a slow leak.
I mean, because at the end of the day, isn't that nail just sort of patched it up itself?
Absolutely. I'm going to put a little super glue on and call it a day.
I used to live in Cocoa Beach. I used to work for Florida Today newspaper, and I was covering the Gators at the time. And I had a flat tire just as I was leaving Cocoa Beach to drive to Gainesville. And I had one of those little tiny mini spares. So I put this mini spare, and that's back when I changed tires myself. I put this mini spare on, and I drive to Gainesville just as I would normally drive. All right, 80 down the interstate. When I got to Gainesville, that little spare had bubbles all. It was just bloated.
You can't do that on the donuts.
Yeah, the donut's supposed to only go like 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I just thought you could drive as normal.
Man, I thought I was in a NASCAR pit stop real quick. We just put a new tire on. I can go as fast as I want to go.
Bianchi was out here gunning it to 88. Going to Gainesville.
Gosh, you're lucky that thing didn't blow.
Tiny wheel. He looks like Ice Cube in a video with the 3-wheel motion. It's like the tire is like so low.
All right. Also yesterday, because the Deceptive Intellect wasn't in, he's our soccer aficionado. We're going to get to the big soccer story in the world later, but I was on Kravitz's show yesterday. All right. And we were talking about Orlando City's opener against Atlanta United, the 0-0 draw. And Kravitz was just ripping, 0-0 draws in soccer, saying that's why soccer isn't big among American sports fans. And I was trying to explain to him, you don't need to have scoring. That's just a regular part of soccer. All right, Adam Reardon, do you agree with Brandon Kravitz? 0-0 draws are unacceptable for American sports fans?
No, absolutely not. And the weird part is, and though games end in a draw, you still achieve some points for that. And we've always been sort of programmed that tying is a loss in this kissing your sister, right? Yeah. But here's the funny thing is, oh man, there's no goals. It's not exciting. Didn't we have a no-hitter like a week ago? Mm-hmm. I'd like to go back.
We've had 2 of them this year.
Okay, so 2 of them this year. I'd like to go back to the tape and listen to Brandon Kravitz and see if Brandon Kravitz celebrated the no-hitter or not.
Yeah, but someone still won that game. Someone still scored.
Okay,
but he wasn't talking about the draws. He was just talking about low scoring.
Yeah, like defensive. Because let me tell you something. And there's a game I can point to in particular right off the top of my head. It was the Brazil-Mexico game in the World Cup 2 World Cups ago. 0-0 draw between Brazil, Neymar, and then Mexico. Guillermo Ochoa was in goal and made 1 billion saves. And you want to talk about an exciting game. You look at it in the box score and go, 0-0. Oh, what a boring game. That ain't the case, okay? So at the end of the day, that's an old take that's been around for a long, long time. Oh, tying and 0-0 draw. How often do you see 0-0? It's not very often anymore. The game has advanced offensively. I think teams are better offensively now. You get goals. 0-0 is sort of it's sort of like a 2-1 baseball game. You don't get that very often either, but it's celebrated. People celebrate when you throw the no-hitter or it's a 2-1 pitcher's duel. People go, that's like the good old days. Yeah, remember that? Jack Morris on the mound. This is sweet. So if you celebrate a pitcher's duel or you celebrate a no-hitter, Don't start
or a
complaining.
good old SEC defensive 10-3 slobber.
Oh yeah, those slobber
Those don't happen anymore.
Yeah, but that's it.
45-point games now.
Yeah, but Austin's right. We've advanced, and soccer's advanced. You don't get a lot of 0-0 draws anymore, and when you do, you go, hey, listen, somebody's doing something great defensively in those games, and so you got to celebrate that, like you would a no-hitter, like you would a 2-1 pitchers duel in baseball. The only difference is in soccer, it's structured to the point where, hey, listen, we give you a point for a draw. And we don't play extra innings, and we don't go to penalty shootouts in hockey and whatnot. We can go to the PKs if you want to, but then guess what? I got to listen to Brandon Kravitz complain about then. Old guy, yeah. I hate penalty kicks take. Penalty kick, that's no way to end a game. That's no way to end a game.
Yeah, by the way, I sat through the Orlando City Atlanta United game. It was nothing like the Mexico-Brazil World Cup game, okay? Let me just say that.
Not all 0-0 games are created equal.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Listen, I sat through a 0-0 U13 game this weekend, too, so probably on the lines.
Good news for Orlando City, by the way. Alexander Pato was injured in that game Saturday. Looks like he does not have a torn ACL. He is injured, but it does not require surgery. That is according to the Orlando Sentinel in today's newspaper. So, anyway, or online. All right, straight ahead, the Tampa Bay Lightning are giving you a chance to spend the night with the Stanley Cup. It'll only cost you $5,000. That's sort of the genesis of our spontaneous text question. That's next on Open Mic.
What does Mike Bianchi and the next commercial break have
So the Tampa Bay Lightning, who, by the way, beat the Carolina Hurricanes last night, they have a new promotion going on over at Amalie Arena. And I was reading this story last night. So obviously they won the Stanley Cup last year. So they're trying to raise money for the team's charity. So they are turning a luxury suite at Amalie Arena into a one-night Airbnb. All right? And they're giving fans a chance to spend the night at Amalie Arena with the Stanley Cup.
Nice.
All right? Stanley Cup, it's only going to cost you $5,000. It's not just spending the night with the Stanley Cup, though. All right, so here's what it says in the promotion. All right, spend the night like a champion in this once-in-a-lifetime pinch me, this can't be happening, we're going to need more hyphens experience. When you spend an evening with the most famous trophy in sports at Amalie Arena, home of the world champion Tampa Bay Lightning, we transformed a luxury box at Amalie Arena into your very own private guest room suite, offering unprecedented access to Amalie Arena. But that's just the beginning of your VIP treatment. Throughout your stay, you'll enjoy an itinerary packed with hockey experiences any Bolts fan would dream of cross-checking off their bucket list.
Nice.
Things guests can do in their stay include enjoying a 5-course meal, popping champagne during a private happy hour, skating on the ice, touring Amalie Arena, viewing a movie on the humongous Lightning vision screen, sounding the goal siren, playing the arena's organ, and taking a Zamboni ride. Huh?
Hell yeah.
Huh?
I'm down for that. You kidding me?
$5,000? If I were a big hockey fan and I had cash, I'd do that.
I was thinking as you're reading off all these things, Tampa can't be the first franchise to think of this, because I'm thinking of places like in Detroit, like where they are like hockey. Like
Hockey town,
fanatics, yeah. I mean, like they're nuts over it. I mean,
Boston,
the Bruins. Oh, after the Bruins finally won their Stanley Cup. Oh, you can imagine how much money.
I threw my $5,000 down and I cradled the Stanley Cup all night. Okay,
that's right.
I wonder if the Lightning are the first ones to think of it. It's a great idea.
Oh, it's fantastic. But I'm thinking.
I wonder if they have somebody there though watching over. Like, do you have to have somebody watching over?
The Stanley Cup is in a glass case that you can't get to. You can take a picture next. There's no way they're like you're able to tuck the Stanley Cup into bed with you. No way.
You got the Stanley Cup riding shotgun on the Zamboni.
You couldn't drink beer out of it, or
no?
That's an extra $1,000.
Mike,
deals off then.
Yeah, deals off.
I'm with you on that.
You've had kids, you know what I mean? Like, don't you hate like bringing your kids to somebody that you're scared they're going to break something? You think that the Tampa Bay Lightning, anybody who's got $5,000 can just take the Stanley Cup?
Drink beer. I mean, that's the only thing I'd like to do with the Stanley Cup is drink beer out of it, for crying out loud.
Maybe they have an employee there from like 8 p.m. to midnight, and you can do shots out of it. You know, then the bar closes and they shut it down. They put it behind lock and key or something like that. But yeah, no, it's probably in the room with them, but it didn't like Austin said, you get to tuck it into bed with you.
It's in a glass vault or something with bulletproof glass or something. All right, here's the spontaneous text question.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
What piece of sports memorabilia would you pay money to spend the night with, and how much money would you fork over to spend the night with it? For instance, I would spend at least $500 to spend the night with Timothy Richard Tebow's Heisman Trophy.
Oh.
I mean, good look. I would do that in a minute.
That's not where I thought you were going with that.
Wow.
Listen,
I'd spend $500 to be with Timothy Richard Tebow.
Let me say that. Mike knows as well as I do. It costs $25,000 just to get him to speak to your university, let alone get him to sleep with you. Are you kidding me?
Sleep in the hyperbaric chamber with Timothy Richard.
Got any room in there, Tim? You got any room? Deflate this thing a little bit, will you? Come on.
All right, text in 50857. Piece of sports memorabilia you would pay money to spend the night with. All right. Real quick, I wanted to ask you guys. You guys are obviously younger than me, so I've been noticing on ESPN. All right, like I watch SportsCenter a lot. Obviously, I don't watch any shows, but I do watch SportsCenter and I watch ESPN. all the time, and I'm on sports websites all the time, checking out stuff. So ESPN.com, ESPN, their coverage of UFC is like, again, I realize why it is, because they now have a contract to televise UFC fights, so I understand that they are promoting UFC. But as I've often said, ESPN sort of sets the table as to what sports fans are interested in this country. So I'm just curious, UFC, and we have a poll up about this, where does UFC rank among your favorite sports? And how popular is UFC now is what I'm asking you guys. I mean, is it as popular as, let's just pick some other niche sports. Is it as popular as golf and NASCAR? And I'm not talking about the Masters. I'm talking about, the John Deere Classic. Is UFC more popular than weekly PGA Tour golf? Is it more popular than weekly NASCAR? Where does UFC rank in sports popularity in this country?
I think it's demographic driven. That question there, comparing those sports to UFC, I think UFC is a much younger demographic than golf. I mean, with all due respect to the great young players in the world of golf, young guys aren't watching it. Tiger going away from golf has sort of, kind of driven. I would say that people my age and older still enjoy on a Saturday or a Sunday to watch the leaderboard of a golf tournament, whereas the younger sports fans now are definitely tuned in to UFC and credit ESPN and the UFC for forming a partnership where it's on every week. I mean, it seems like there's a fight card every single week for the UFC. Even if it's a pay-per-view weekend, they always put their prelims on ESPN. So you get about 2 to 3 hours worth of fights there. And then at 9 o'clock, they say, hey, we're switching over to the pay-per-view, order it online, because they have to deal with ESPN Plus. With ESPN, you can just order it right there for an extra $50, and then you'll get the main event card as well. So they've definitely created a much better mousetrap for themselves.
Okay, forget about demographics. Yeah. Forget about age. I'm just talking about overall sports fans. Taking the what are the 25 to 54, 35 to 65, 18 to 4, from 18 to 65. Where does UFC rank above the other niche sports? Now, obviously, football, baseball, basketball, those are your three main sports. Does it rank there with hockey? Does it rank there with, again, golf, NASCAR? I'm trying to think.
I would say it beats NASCAR. I think at this point, UFC is a more popular sport than NASCAR. I don't think it's as popular as golf. I don't think it quite reaches that mark. That's kind of the in-between where it is right now. It isn't as widely popular as hockey is, for sure. But it's definitely more popular than NASCAR.
See, the other part, you're gonna, because you'll measure TV numbers when we discuss this, right? And so what's going to happen is you're going to measure something that's on at 3:30 p.m. versus something that's on at 9:30 p.m. And so that automatically skews towards the golf and the NASCAR because it's during the day and more people are awake to watch it and whatnot. I think it's pretty similar, to be honest. At the end of the day, if you were able to do some sort of cross-sectional poll, I think you're probably pretty even. And again, I think it's about age. It's age-driven more so than anything else. So when you got a higher population total-wise that are going to be a little bit older than that 35-year-old demographic. And so I think that probably at the end of the day, maybe more people would certainly recognize the biggest name golfers,
right,
than recognize the biggest name UFC guys today.
Yeah.
With all due respect to UFC guys.
All right, we want to know what you think. Go vote on our poll at 96.9 The Game on Twitter. Go vote on all of our polls, in fact. And one of our polls includes our next question. Dan Mullen announced yesterday that he's been vaccinated for COVID. Why haven't more coaches come out with this announcement? We'll discuss and debate that next on Open Mic. UCF spring game, we were talking about this after the spring game. I made the awkward attempt to make a little small talk with new UCF head coach Gus Malzahn at the end of his press conference. And I just threw out there, actually, why don't you play the clip?
Do you get vaccinated?
No.
You got it?
I don't know yet.
Okay. So that was the awkward moment
Gets
where I
better
asked Gus.
every time.
Yeah, so I asked Gus Malzahn, had he been vaccinated, and he said no. And then I made the other stupid attempt of trying to follow up. Are you going to? No, I haven't decided yet. So I should have asked that of Dan Mullen. And because Dan Mullen yesterday, and people might be shocked about this, because Dan Mullen got a lot of grief during the football season for saying, hey, let's pack the swamp, in the middle of a pandemic. And, he got ripped for that. So a lot of people thought, well, Dan Mullen must not think COVID is very serious if he wants to pack the swamp. Well, yesterday I was I was surprised to see Dan Mullen. He put a photo out on his Twitter account of him, had his shirt sleeve up, and there was a doctor there injecting him with the COVID vaccine. And Dan Mullen put out a tweet, just a short tweet, got the vaccine, #chomp out COVID.
Nice.
#chomp out COVID. So that's what Dan Mullen put out there. And it got me to thinking, and obviously the Gus Malzahn situation got me to thinking about it as well. Remember when COVID first started and you have coaches and public figures doing these public service announcements about how to wash your hands and, 20 seconds and, follow all the protocols and all of that. Why haven't there been, and maybe I'm just missing them, why haven't there been more public service announcements from coaches about getting vaccinated? Because there's not been a whole lot of them that I can remember or that I recall. I mean, there's been some, but, when COVID first started, it was like, hey, look, hey, this is how you wash your hands. Everybody's putting out these public service announcements about how to wash your hands. What about public service announcements about getting vaccinated? Why aren't those more prevalent?
Well, I think because vaccinations are definitely a much more hot button topic than washing your hands. There's not I've heard of anti-vaxxers. I haven't heard of anti-hand washers.
Yeah.
But again, vaccines became such a political issue too. The minute you openly choose a side on that, then you got half your fan base that goes, it's because of this or because of that. And so I think coaches have been less likely to do that as opposed to tread the pick the very low hanging fruit, which is, hey, remember to wash your hands for 20 seconds.
I will say this though, obviously I have I don't have lots of friends, but I have a fair amount of friends and family, and I have people on both sides who've been vaccinated. Now I also know people who haven't been vaccinated. I'm just thinking though, if you're a coach, all right, if you're a college football coach or you're a NBA coach and your business has been shut down for a period of time and you want everything to go as planned, all right, moving forward, why wouldn't you do a public service announcement about getting vaccinated? And again, it's your choice. You can choose to be vaccinated if you want. It's your body. My stance is, and it's been, hey, if I can put some of the stuff into my body that I already put into it, a vaccine's not going to hurt me. All right. So
I will say this, that actually a friend of mine on Facebook, his daughter was at Publix doing something, and Dan Mullen was there up in Gainesville and took a picture with the whole group of, they were fundraising for something. And so there's like these 6, older college age girls with all their masks on. There's Dan Mullen, no mask on. So he must have just gotten his shot. And he's like, that's it. I'm good. I'm good to go. I'm good to go. No more masks for me. Let's pack this swamp. Let's pack it. Let's go.
Mike, something that's really interesting, I just did a quick Google search. So when I was at WrestleMania, there were a ton of WWE PSAs for getting the COVID vaccine and all of that. And I did a quick Google search to see if the NBA had done one with players or if NFL has. And the big story with the NBA is that a lot of Hall of Famers are doing PSAs, like Julius Erving, Bill Russell. They've all done vaccine PSAs, but there have not been very many current players that have done that. And so it's just interesting to see who's doing PSAs and who isn't.
Yeah. So I do think it's interesting. And again, I'm not saying you have to get a vaccine.
I'll say
but,
it. Get a vaccine. End this thing.
Yeah, you know, obviously I would want everybody to get vaccinated, but again, it's a free country. You can do what you want. It's your body, all of that stuff. All right, so here's the poll question. Should all college and pro coaches follow the lead of Gators coach Dan Mullen and get the COVID vaccine? Obviously, I think they should.
Yes.
Not saying they
Oh my gosh, yes.
not saying they have to, but should they? Again, your entire we keep, we hear these stories about how college sports has been decimated financially because of COVID. We had all the protocols and the COVID testing during the season, games canceled, all of the. If you've been through that in your sport, in your business, why wouldn't you be vaccinated?
Hey, we already have it, brother. we already have the vaccine.
We got the vaccine right here. 420, everyone's getting the vaccine today.
I guess at the end of the day, occupation doesn't matter. I mean, does it? I mean, are we just saying that everybody should be vaccinated?
Well, again, these are. I mean, if we say it, nobody pays attention. But I'll guarantee you, when Dan Mullen put that picture out on Twitter yesterday and it became public that he'd been vaccinated, I guarantee you there are a lot of Gator fans out there who maybe were thinking about not getting the vaccine, that maybe they will now because their coach. You know how college football, you know how sports fans are. My coach is doing it. By God, I'm behind my coach.
Has Spurrier gotten it? Has anybody asked Spurrier? That's
of course.
Okay. That's who needs to come out and say it. I mean, right now, Gator fans are looking at Dan Mullen going, "Listen, you're trying to save this fan base. Fire Todd Grantham, will you? Okay, forget about the vaccine. You want to do something that rallies us behind you?
Hey, also be the reason we fire Mike White.
I think Spurrier might have done a PSA for the vaccine. I'm not sure.
I'll Google it.
Yeah. Yeah, Google that. Yeah. In fact, here it is. Why don't you play it? It says UF Health Coach Steve Spurrier COVID vaccine.
I'm not on that computer. I'm on my own. I'm off to the side now.
Yeah, just Google Spurrier PSA vaccine.
Because that's the guy. I mean, if you want Florida fans to get it done, you know what I mean? That's it.
I hope he got it. He's almost.
I mean, he's definitely in the danger zone.
Yes.
But, but he was probably like, don't need it. I don't shake hands. Fist bumps kept me good all these years.
All right, go vote on our poll or polls at 96.9 The Game. Right around the corner. I'm not a European soccer fan, but I wish college football would adopt the plan of this new European Super League. I'll explain next on Open Mic.
Bianchi's got to get a quick workout in.
Pump you up.
Open Mic. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Do not forget your first chance to win $1,000 coming up 7:10 a.m. this morning right here on Open Mic. We call it the Game Day Payday, presented by International Diamond Center. We certainly do appreciate them presenting this contest. We do it 3 times every morning on this show and then 12 times throughout the day. 7:10 a.m. is your first chance, and then 8:10 a.m., then 9:10 a.m., and then on the 10s throughout the day. All right, the spontaneous text question is in honor of the Tampa Bay Lightning, giving its fans a chance to spend the night with the Stanley Cup. Only costs you $5,000. You can spend the night at Amalie Arena. They've set up a luxury suite as a sort of an Airbnb that you can spend the night, you and 5 of your friends, with the Stanley Cup for $5,000. We want you to text in.
That has sold out, by the way. I want to throw that out there. It has sold out. It is no longer available.
We want you to text in a piece of sports memorabilia you would pay money to spend the night with, and how much would you spend? Somebody just texted in Tiger's green jacket, to which I would say, which one? All right. The first one, probably in 1997. I was there for that Masters, and that was quite the moment. Yeah.
No, he was too skinny. He was too skinny for me to fit into that jacket. I need like the more, the much more svelte, the more buff Tiger jacket.
One of the best column ideas ever was a guy named Mike Berardino. He used to be a columnist for the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. And he went to the Masters one year to cover the Masters. And he went to some department store. And he somehow he just bought a green jacket, right? He just bought some green jacket and he put it on. And he just walked around Augusta National with his green jacket on. And just, wrote about how the people reacted to him and wanted to come up to him and introduce themselves because he had this green jacket on. They wanted to know who he was.
If he'd have just looked up like former winners and just picked out a name from like 1974 or something like that. I'm Billy Simpkins.
Orville Moody.
Yeah,
I'm Orville Moody.
Billy
Tommy
Simpkins.
Aaron.
That's right. 1976 winner. Good to meet you. Thank you guys for coming out. It's great to see you. I'm here on behalf of Skechers. Their new shoes here, their orthopedic shoes, are great for us older fellas that are walking the course today.
Somebody just texted in, piece of memorabilia you'd like to spend the night with. Does Tom Brady's trophy wife count? No.
Nice. Oh, my God.
No.
That's it.
Wow.
No. That might be the best text we've ever gotten.
That's incredible.
All right, I wanted to get Adam Reardon's opinion on this yesterday. Obviously, he is a soccer aficionado. He's a soccer coach here in town over at Lyman High School. He's also a big fan. Barcelona is your team, right?
Barcelona and Manchester City, yeah.
Okay, so I believe those are 2 of the teams that are involved in this new concept, the European Super League, and it has created turmoil. I'm talking about major turmoil in the European soccer world. It's being led by the owner or the owners of Manchester United, who also happen to own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Glazer family. Joel Glazer is the co-chairman of this Super League that's being formed. Essentially, it is 15 of the most prestigious soccer clubs over in Europe. Manchester United, Barcelona, Real Madrid, go down the list. Arsenal, I don't know all of them, but they're from a bunch of different leagues. The Premier League in England, the Spanish La Liga. What is that?
Yep. La Liga.
Yeah, the Spanish league, the Italian league, the French league, the top teams from all of those leagues. These are the Alabamas, Notre Dames, Ohio States of the European soccer world. And I compared it yesterday. This is like the Power 5 on steroids. This would be like if Alabama and Auburn and Georgia and Florida and maybe LSU, they told Vanderbilt and Ole Miss and Mississippi State, we're leaving the SEC to go join forces with Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State out of the Big 10, Oklahoma and Texas out of the Big 12, Oregon and USC out of the Pac-12, Clemson and maybe FSU because of their past history in the ACC, or maybe Miami. All right. So that's what this is like. These 15 teams over in Europe, these 15 elite teams are talking about breaking away from the Champions League and forming their own Super League. And why are they doing it? Well, obviously, more money for them, bigger TV contracts, the elite teams are going to play each other more, which means bigger TV contracts. All right, Adam Reardon, that's the first of all, before we get into what you think about it, I want to play you a clip. Do you know who Gary Neville is?
Yes.
Gary Neville is a former one of the former elite players for England. He played on the English national team. He played for Manchester United. Now he's a renowned English soccer commentator. I want you to hear what he said yesterday, I believe it was, when he was talking about the Glazers, who also own the Bucks, and they own Manchester United, and they're sort of leading this charge for this Super League. Listen to this.
But what I can't live with is attacking every single football fan in this country. They have stepped over the mark. They are scavengers. And they need booting out of this football club and they need booting out of this country. And we have got to come together now. It might be too late. There'll be people at Manchester United, fans who were arguing 15 years ago, who will say it's too late. It's never too late. We have got to stop this. It is absolutely critical we do.
Scavengers.
Scavengers. They need to be booted out of the country. Good Lord. You can't just boot them out of the country. Isn't England a democracy?
That's proverbial booting out.
I was going to say, hold on, aren't they?
The proverbial booting out.
Okay. All right. Your thoughts on this European Super League?
Okay, so I can see it from both sides because I'm American. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because and recognizing that the Glazers own the Manchester United. Fenway has a stake in Liverpool. There's other American ownership now in European soccer clubs.
You have hedge fund guys own. Yeah.
So the Americanization,
the Saudi royal family owns some of it, I think.
One of the things that makes European football to me absolutely beautiful, and what I love most about it is the reap what you sow. The eat what you kill, the promotion and relegation, something we don't have here. It's why sports in this country, I've said it before and I'll say it a billion times, aren't competitive. They are geographically based sports entertainment because there is no penalty for failure in this country. As a matter of fact, we reward you with the number one pick in the draft more times than not. The thing with soccer over in Europe is, hey, listen, if you're not good enough, you don't get to go up. Or if you're so bad, you got to go down. And the Champions League has always been, hey, listen, if you're one of the top 4 to 5 teams in England, you get a chance to prove that you're one of the best teams in Europe by qualifying for the Champions League. Now you're going to do away with that and just Manchester United, Manchester City, all the big clubs, the big name clubs with the big TV viewership numbers, they're just going to go start their own thing. So it just takes away from... And I'm not a big history and tradition guy, but there is something about this that does bother me. Now I get that when Manchester United's playing against Paris Saint-Germain in a match, I'm going to watch. But they're going to play against each other in the Champions League, and the Champions League trophy is such a historic trophy that. Yeah, it'd be like the top 4 historic NFL teams breaking off and starting their own league, and
this just kills the Champions.
Crushes it. Yeah, it makes the chance, and that's why why UEFA is battling so hard, threatening to ban players who play in this Super League from representing their countries in the World Cup, trying to partner with FIFA to say, hey, listen, what they're doing here is wrong.
That's ridiculous.
No, I agree with that.
Can't stop players from being on their national team because of this.
Well, I mean, in this country, we can stop players from playing college football if they accept a $5 hamburger, can't we? Yeah.
Here's the other thing. All right, so essentially, these 15 elite teams, they're going to form their own Champions League, if you will, right? They're forming their own Champions League. They're always going to qualify. There's no not qualifying for this 15-team Super League, although they're also going to have like 5 teams who alternate in and out of this league. I'm just curious, what does this do to the Premier League? What does this do to them? Because now isn't the Premier League essentially a minor league?
No. The Premier League, you're still going to want to win your league title. It just doesn't force you to finish in the top 4 to qualify for this next tournament where you're going to earn a lot of money. So
but the Premier League to me, again, I'm thinking of like this as an American sports fan. It would be like, it's sort of like, MLS players who go and play for their national team. The national team takes a precedent, all right? The national team takes precedent. To me, if a player's, maybe a player's a little banged up at the end of the Premier League and they're trying to get him healthy for the Super League, maybe they sit him in the Premier League because that's not as big a deal anymore because you don't need the Premier League to qualify for the Champions League, right?
Well, they do that. They do that already. Like Manchester City is in the Champions League semifinals, and they're in the Premier League. Now they have a big lead in the Premier League, so they can rest their guys. I mean, that already happens now when it comes to qualifying for the Champions League. That's something they've always had to balance. My biggest problem is, let's say that Manchester United or Manchester City or Chelsea, one of these teams hit the skids, and they're the 10th best team in England. Why are they part of this 15-team tournament? What have they done to earn that except for have a strong fan base? It's like saying same reason
Notre Dame for all those years when they were doing nothing had their own TV contract.
Yeah, but right, they have their TV contract, but they weren't getting into the college football playoffs every year. They had to at least go undefeated. They had to earn their way in. It'd be like if Notre Dame was 6-6, and because, hey, listen, a lot of people are going to watch the 4 seed. When we tune into that ESPN seeding show, the number 4 seed is 6-6 Notre Dame, and you're going, why are they there? Because they're Notre Dame, and that's what's happening here. They're not having Leeds United fans had a shirt that said "Earn It," which basically means you have to earn your spot in the Champions League. Right now, look, my 2 favorite teams are a part of this. They're not having to earn their way in, and there's something that is European about that when it comes to soccer. You've always had to earn your way into these Champions Leagues and Europa Leagues, and now they're just being handed out, just like we have in American sports. Listen, you're in this league come hell or high water. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how good you are, how bad you are. You're going to get into this, and to me, there's something about that just doesn't feel right for me. But then again, all the Vandies of the world are getting left behind, aren't they? The Vanderbilts of the world are getting left behind. That's it. But they're leaving those 5 spots open and say, hey, listen, you can earn your way in, Vanderbilt. All you gotta do. It's not like we're slamming the door in your face.
Hey, UCF, you have a chance to get in.
Yeah, sure you do.
All right, let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2, Cocoa Beach, Orlando. Facebook.com/969 The Game.
What you reading there, honey?
It's very exciting stuff, you see. It's the front page of the internet.
Here we go with the front page of the internet this morning. I'm going to buzz through the first couple ones because there is a story at the end that is absolutely insane. So, starting off YouTube's trending page, they are pushing the new YouTube short stuff, okay? Jake Paul announcing the $65 million generated from his fight has 2.1 million views, and Mr. Beast has a world's largest cup tower video that has 4.1 million views, where he literally just builds a giant cup tower and shoves a friend into it. It's great. It's 30 seconds long, and people are loving YouTube Shorts. But you should go to TikTok and follow it at Actually Average instead. Boom! Cheap plug. Carmen Electra. Is her birthday today. How old is she?
Oh, God. Carmen Electra. She's got to be 52.
She's got to be 45.
She's 49 years old.
Is she 49?
She is still very, very attractive. I'm sure everyone is shocked by that. Trending over on Reddit today, it is Doge Day. So get Dogecoin to $1. Invest now. I believe it's at 39 cents currently.
Wow.
People expecting it to jump to $1 today. Also, one of the top trending communities is the Trees subreddit, which is in honor of 420. Just Blaze, everybody. Everyone.
By the way, I took all my money out of Dogecoin and put it into ITRM. Thanks, Adam.
Did you?
Hold it. You gotta hold
real
it.
quick.
You must have been smoking, brother.
You gotta hold it. I told you what I bought mine at. I told you that every day I kick myself. Who thought that this was gonna happen?
Yeah, goodness. So that is what's trending over on Reddit. However, time for this big, crazy, weird story, okay? Manti Te'o was trending today, this morning, okay?
He didn't do it again, did he?
He did not. The reason why is because everyone is comparing this story out of Lakers Twitter, the Los Angeles Lakers Twitter, to the Manti Te'o situation. Okay. There is a podcast called the Lakers Point Podcast. It is this is a weird conspiracy theory, and I feel kind of strange talking about it, but it's such a weird, crazy story. So this podcast is hosted by a man named Josh Toussaint and his co-host Vivian. And Vivian supposedly went missing on Sunday. And so Josh Toussaint puts out, hey, Vivian is missing. She suffers from leukemia, and so we need to find her.
Sounds like a hoax.
Okay. Well, supposedly, the Los Angeles Lakers reached out to him. He shared DMs of the Lakers official Twitter account reaching out to him saying, hey, here's who our head of security is. He'll be in contact with you. Come to find out, she was found, air quotes, but then people started to talk about how they had been catfished by this Vivian before. It was brought up to Kevin Durant during a Twitter Spaces thing, and Kevin Durant was like, well, this is a crazy, weird story, because he had apparently been interviewed by her, supposedly. Then people looked back and found really bad Photoshops, supposedly showing that this Vivian isn't a real person, okay? Then also, the tweets explaining, hey, I'm fine, everything's okay, are worded, punctuated, and emojied in the very similar way as Josh Toussaint's
Come on,
tweets are.
Josh.
So people are expecting that that's a thing. Josh is denying it. Now people are actually claiming that this guy is actually Vivian on his own podcast. I want you to play the clip of their intro.
Greetings, hello, and welcome to the Laker Point Podcast. I am your co-host, Josh, and always I am joined by Vivian. Vivian, how is your wonderful and amazing life?
Wonderful and amazing, Josh. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's wonderful and amazing, but I'm blessed. And
so people are taking that clip, and this just came up like 15 minutes ago, so I'm not able to play the clip, but people are actually editing that clip and adding sound effects and pitch changing to see what it would sound like if it were a guy, and it sounds like Josh Toussaint.
Pistolka up here breaking news.
It's incredible.
Okay. All right, Pistolka, here's my question for you, all right?
All right.
You just spent, I don't know, 5 minutes.
3 minutes, because it's a 5-minute bed.
Okay, yeah, you've been talking about this for way too long. All right, first of all, you compared it to Manti Te'o, right?
The catfish.
People knew Manti Te'o. They cared about Manti Te'o. He was one of the star football players at Notre Dame, all right? But Notre Dame was good. Who cares if Josh is catfish? Who the hell is Josh?
Because Josh Toussaint is apparently a member of Lakers media, okay?
What? He's a member of Lakers media.
He's got a podcast, and he has...
you have a podcast. Does that make you a member of Magic Media? No.
Well, it does, but that's beside the point. The point of the fact is that enough people listen to this podcast, and it has come up now that he faked all of this. He has faked
allegedly
has faked her voice, has faked her missing, because she still won't go on a video stream to prove anything. Button.
You know what? The 10 people who were listening to his podcast now that's going to be like 10,000 people. All right,
Mike, he did make it up, by the way.
What do you?
Like she's not real.
She's not real.
She doesn't even have a last name. Come on.
No, I know she's not. Well, because he said like he's looking for her, right? And she has leukemia, right?
Right.
But in that intro, he's like, "Hey, you're blessed and wonderful life. You've got leukemia." And nobody would say that. You know, I mean, like, so it's not real.
Mike, here's my
He
question
catches
to you:
himself.
If
He
nobody
lies.
cares, why have 26,000 people tweeted about this?
26,000.
That's because the Lakers official staff reached out to him and he started tweeting it out, and so now it really got legs. Now he got too many important people involved, and now
this
can't
guy
back it back down.
because of guys like Austin Pastolka, this guy's going to become a YouTube sensation and probably make millions.
As Vivian,
for being the guy who hoaxed the Lakers.
When Vivian was found, did she release like a video going, "Hey guys, thank you so much for the support"?
Zero videos.
Yeah, she's fake. She's fake. Like I said, hey, here's Vivian with her blessed and wonderful life, and then a week later, like, please find her. She's got leukemia. Like, wait a minute, what?
Zero.
The only Vivian I care about is Vivian Vance, who used to play Ethel Mertz on I Love Lucy.
Come on now. Aunt Viv. Come on now.
Yeah, come on now. Aunt Viv.
By the way, only early Aunt Viv is the only Aunt Viv we recognize on this program. Only ballet dancing Aunt Viv.
Yeah. All right, so Austin Pastolka took up all of our time for real sports stories. Instead, he's telling us about
what the hell's going on in Orlando, man? Okay, the Magic are tanking.
Freaking Jake. What's his name?
Josh Tucson.
Josh.
At Josh Toussaint.
Yeah, there you go. Build up his Twitter following.
What these guys do. It's what these guys do.
That is the front page of the internet. What do we want to talk about now? Oh, we got Sound Off coming your way next on Open Mic, but don't go anywhere because we have a chance for you right now to win $1,000.
Listen live on FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740, and the iHeartRadio app.
Are we supposed to come back with the sound off music?
Yeah, that's me. I completely forgot about, what's going on there. So here we go.
So, Sound Off brought to you by the Academy Sports and Outdoors text line, 50857. If you want to text in a thought, where somebody just texted in, just when you thought the front page of the internet bit couldn't get any worse, today happened.
It's not a bit, man. This is a conspiracy theory, okay? We're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to find out who Vivian really is.
Unless, of course, Vivian isn't really anything.
Ooh!
Yeah. All right, let's get to the sound off.
Sound off. New York is the mecca of basketball. I love playing. I love playing here. When I played here in college, and this is my first time playing here in the pros, and I mean, this atmosphere, whether they're cheering for you, whether they're booing for you, it's amazing. Honestly, I think outside of New Orleans, obviously, I think this might be my favorite place to play outside of New Orleans. I can't even lie to you. I can't lie to you.
You can hear the smile on Zion Williamson's face when they ask him about playing in New York, in the Mecca, the place that you need to be to shine in basketball. We already know where he's going in a couple of years. Mike, what are you thinking?
That's Kelly, who's a big Knicks fan. But I got to tell you, as much as I hate to say it, all right, Zion Williamson. The Knicks dreamed of being able to draft Zion Williamson. The Knicks have been moribund for decades now. They haven't won a title since the early 70s. But still, they're the Knicks. They play at Madison Square Garden. You just heard Zion Williamson glowing about playing at the Garden, the Mecca of basketball, he calls it. Yes, I would say within 3 years, Zion Williamson will have forced his way out of New Orleans like Anthony Davis did, and he'll be playing in New York for the Knickerbockers. Yeah, as much as I hate to say it, that's what's going to happen.
Sound off. I mean, from Wilt's last week and then this streak, I'm obviously aware, but it's you don't put too much pressure on yourself. You just play basketball. I think for the first time in that third quarter, I started to press a little bit down the stretch, and they started to pick up the intensity on the ball and rush a couple shots. But for the most part, I've just settled into just having fun, being aggressive, obviously, but kind of letting the game come to you. And for me, that looks a certain type of way, but I'm having a blast out there just playing basketball, and it's obviously working.
Wardell Curry II talking about what in April he's been having, killing the game. He's like Dogecoin shooting from the moon. Adam, nice. What we thinking?
Hell yeah.
Listen, this guy's having quite the run here. As a matter of fact, I read somebody tweeted last night, said, I don't care if the Warriors win another game. Steph Curry is the MVP of the league. I mean, he's playing well. I'm trying to look here real fast. On the outside, looking in on the playoff on the playoff standings at this point, but should they make it in, I mean, it'll be because of him. Now, it's nice for him to not have any other superstars to share the ball with, so he gets to shoot as many times as he wants.
But the thing is, Lord forbid if Clay was there, oh my Lord, that would be a scary sight in Golden State.
It'd be back to what they were before.
49 points last night. That broke the record for Kobe Bryant. Steph Curry, 11 straight games now, over 30 points. No player 33 or older has ever done that. Kobe had 10 straight.
Oh, wait, so that's the record, because I'm always blown away by the records that are created just to create records. So like it was 30, more than 30 points for any player 33 or older. But you had to be 33. So if you were 32, you don't qualify for this record.
No,
that's correct.
Oh, okay. All right.
No.
So somebody had to really do some research to get. Sorry, that guy was 31. He doesn't count.
And I believe he overtook Bradley Beal for being the league's leading scorer.
Leading scorer. Okay. All right.
Some big shout out to Steph, man.
Sound off. Katie, let's start off with something really, really good. Top 5 players you ever played with all time. Now, I just want to remind you before you answer this, right? You played with some really good players, and somebody's going to get left out.
They are, and I'm fine with that.
See, that's $1 million worth of game. Top 5 players you ever played with.
Kyrie.
James. Who?
James.
Mm-hmm.
Harden. Steph. Clay. I'm going to go Serge Ibaka.
Damn.
I'm sorry, what?
I thought somebody else was
Hold
going to
on, what?
LA, but that's
so I'm just. All right, so
I forgot somebody?
Yeah, to me, I thought you was going to say. I ain't even going.
Who?
South Central LA, Russell.
Oh, damn.
Day talking about the top 5 players that he's ever played with, and of course, out of nowhere, he just leaves Russell Westbrook out of there, man. Mike, what are we thinking?
As great as Russell Westbrook, again, I don't know how you would leave Russell Westbrook out and put Serge Ibaka in there. But as great as Russell Westbrook is, and as many stats as he puts up, he's a triple-double machine. All of that. In fact, didn't he set some sort of record last night with I think he's the only player in NBA history to have multiple triple doubles against every team in the league. That's the record he set last night. Yes, Russell Westbrook has had all of those stats, but do you really ever remember any moment for Russell Westbrook? Again,
do you remember one for Serge Ibaka?
Yeah. Well, but the fact that the fact that he couldn't recall Russell Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook almost averaged a triple-double, across the season. I mean, that's
I know, but still, no championships to show for it, and again, no real memorable.
James Harden doesn't have rings.
Well, yeah, but he's played with James Harden on 2 different teams now, Oklahoma City and
that's true. They're just close.
There is that. Yeah. Serge Ibaka does have an NBA championship.
It's true.
It sounds interesting.
He does? Oh, for Toronto.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah.
Sound off. I was a skinny, no-name recruit who wasn't even supposed to play in college, let alone go to New York as a Heisman finalist, or be the first one to have his name called on draft night. And then, on a routine play, I almost lost everything. But football wouldn't let me give up.
So inspiring.
Because no, this isn't just a game.
Not just a game.
It's not just what happens between those white lines on a Sunday afternoon.
Right.
It's about the challenges and the commitment they require. It's about how hard and how far you can push yourself.
Listen, that's a clip of actually Alex Smith telling us that he's retiring. It's a very deep, very long video that was on Twitter, Instagram. It was very great to see him come back. That triumphant return to the NFL after that gruesome injury. Adam, what you thinking?
Way to persevere through something that was, catastrophic, really. That injury was disgusting, and then you see his fight and his will to compete once again, and he achieved that. And I think that at the end of the day, that was his goal, was to get back on the NFL football field and compete for a starting job. He did that, but now he's got a whole other aspect of his life to think about as a father and a husband and stuff, and then who knows what his future holds. Smart guy. I think one of the top Wonderlic scores ever for Alex Smith. So the future is going to be bright for Alex Smith from the neck up. If what from the neck down is sort of that career is done, from the neck up, that guy will do quite well in the future.
Mike?
His legacy to me isn't, obviously he sort of mentored Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. He comes back from the injury. But to me, his legacy is what he sort of made Urban Meyer. He made Urban Meyer. He was such a great quarterback in college, and he ran that Utah offense to perfection. Utah finished unbeaten his senior year. He, again, is the #1 overall draft pick. Without Alex Smith, Urban Meyer may have never existed as we know him. That's his legacy. He created Urban Meyer.
Sound off for today. My bad, brother. Go.
One thing I do want to say, Alex Smith, I have to channel my inner Big E. Y'all don't know who Big E is, but I know who Big E is. And we got to salute Alex Smith with the hand that is so straight, it curves a little bit. It's so straight, it curves a little bit. Salute to you, Alex Smith, for having one hell of a career.
I've listened to a lot of Biggie before, and he's never. That is
Biggie
not
Langston,
Biggie?
WWE.
Oh, not Biggie. Oh,
not Biggie. Big space E.
Space E. Oh, I thought you
Big
said Biggie.
E, the Big E. You're talking about Elvin Hayes back in the
Elvin
day. That's what they
Hayes.
used to-
I'm talking
yeah, they
about
used to
Big
call him the
E
Big E.
Langston,
there's
former
too-
Intercontinental Champion.
There's too many
here.
big E's going on here. Let's move forward.
All right, right around the corner. Why is this guy even still in the NFL? We'll talk about that next on Open Mic.
Whether you're drinking your morning coffee or
told you the story earlier this morning about the Tampa Bay Lightning and how they're trying to raise money for their charities. And they are giving their fans a chance to spend the night with Lord Stanley's Cup at Amalie Arena. They've set up a luxury suite at Amalie Arena, and they're charging fans $5,000 to spend the night with the Stanley Cup. You can bring 5 friends. They give you a whole soccer experience. You can drive the Zamboni, all of that stuff.
Soccer?
All right. I'm sorry, a hockey experience.
There you go.
Yeah. They're giving you a chance to have a complete hockey experience. $5,000 to spend the night with the Stanley Cup. That was the genesis of our spontaneous text question, which is, what piece of sports memorabilia would you pay money to spend the night with? All right, and you can text those into 50857. Somebody just texted in, Tom Brady's underinflated Super Bowl balls would make for a great soft pillow. Can I spend the night with Tiger's harem of mistresses? Does that count? No. No. And then the guy goes asking for a friend.
Oh, of course. Come on now.
I would like to spend the night with Evander Holyfield's ear. Oh God.
Oh, yikes.
That Mike Tyson bit off the ear. You want to? Oh God.
Wow.
That's ludicrous. That's ludicrous. I bit his ear off.
I'm going to eat his children.
All right. Stories like this just drive me crazy because I don't know why this. No, it's not about Vivian.
Oh, damn it.
Because I don't know why this guy's still. Well, I do know why he's still in the league because everybody thinks he's going to turn into what he once was. And I'm sort of like. Who's the receiver for the Browns who gets chance after chance? Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon. All right. Well, Alden Smith. All right. Alden Smith, Seattle Seahawks defensive end. There's a warrant out for his arrest. I don't know if they've actually arrested him yet, but there's a warrant out for his arrest for alleged second-degree battery that occurred in a New Orleans area a business establishment, I guess. Originally, I said this long ago about Antonio Callaway when he was playing for the Gators and getting in trouble seemingly every week, and people were saying, well, he's just hanging out with the wrong crowd. That's what these Gator fans were saying. I go, he is the wrong crowd, all right? Alden Smith is the wrong crowd, all right? So this recent arrest warrant, allegedly he choked a victim unconscious during a confrontation that began inside a coffee house in Chalmette, Louisiana. The alleged incident rises to a second-degree battery, and I'm reading from the AP story now, because the victim was rendered unconscious. All right? And again, if this were anybody else, I would say, hey, let's not rush to judgment here, all right? But Alden Smith no longer gets the benefit of the doubt in my mind, all right? This guy has missed more than 4 seasons because of indefinite suspensions by the NFL for multiple off-field incidents. I mean, good Lord, substance abuse, domestic battery. Everybody remembers, his first 2 years in the NFL when he played for the 49ers. I think he had like 34 sacks in his first 2 NFL seasons. The guy was an unbelievable rising star in the NFL, and then he started getting in trouble, all right? Then he started getting in trouble. In 2013, he was arrested on suspicion of DUI after crashing his truck into a tree in a residential neighborhood. In 2014, the NFL suspended him for 9 games for violating the personal conduct substance abuse policy. In 2015, he was released by the Niners a day after he was arrested on a hit-and-run DUI and vandalism charge. He signed with the Raiders a month later. He was suspended for a year for violating the substance abuse policy. He was released by the Raiders in 2018 after he was arrested on multiple charges, including domestic violence, assault, and false imprisonment. Yeah, I mean, just again, time after time after time. The Cowboys signed him, and now this. Why is this guy still in the league? And I understand, the better you are, the more chances you get. But I mean, isn't there a time where the NFL and the ownership of the NFL need to say, you know what, we're done. We're done with this guy. I'm trying to think of any other profession where like, could you imagine the radio business? Could you imagine if I'd been arrested for all of these? Would I still be hosting a radio show? I mean, any of us?
Well, I mean, there are
been
radio
some
hosts.
people in radio.
Was it Jay Marriott? God, I don't want to say the wrong guy.
Yeah, it was Jay Marriott. It was Jay Marriott.
It was Jay. Yeah, I mean,
but that
he choked
was
his
one
wife.
incident. Yeah, but that was. I'm talking about
multiple.
Yeah, I mean multiple. This is 6 or 7 incidents.
Yeah, unfortunately, the answer to your question is is what you said earlier. Is because the Seahawks think they can get something out of this guy that will help them win, and that's more important to them than the public perception of signing a guy like this. The interesting thing is the Cowboys didn't want to re-sign him, and just recently the Seahawks signed him. I wonder if the Cowboys sort of knew. I'd have to check the dates on that. I wonder if the Cowboys had a little inside information that this was going to come down at some point in the future, because I want to say the Seahawks just signed him like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks. It's not been long.
The Cowboys were like, yeah, we should probably move him.
We're going to go ahead and move on from this guy.
Yeah, but again, you see it all the time. Although Josh Gordon was, again, he was just substance abuse. All right, Josh Gordon never assaulted. Not again. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. I would need to go back through Josh Gordon's rap sheet, but I don't think he ever assaulted anybody, hit and run, DUI. Things. Josh Gordon's was just he couldn't stay off the weed and other substances. All right, which doesn't make it okay, but it's not like Josh Gordon was a violent individual like Alden Smith is.
Well, and then also, I mean, you hear a battery or like an assault, and I say, okay, well, let me hear the story here. It's 2 guys arguing, and he shoved the guy, and that was it. But the guy, you put your hands on me, I'm calling the police. When you choke somebody unconscious, I mean, that takes a split second. I mean, that's more than just one little, slap across the face or something. That is like either put my hands around your neck and squeeze real tight, or put my arm underneath your chin, and that takes a little bit of work to choke somebody unconscious.
That's the Latrell Spree-Roll special right there.
Yeah, so I mean that kind of tells you where his mindset's at.
Yeah, PJ Carlissimo wasn't unconscious.
Right. So. Just had that scratch on his neck.
Anyway, but that is the way of the world in professional sports. If you are good enough, or they think you're good enough, or they think you can turn into what you once were, because every NFL coach or every NFL or every professional sports coach thinks, hey, I can turn this guy around. I can make a difference.
How many attempts did Pac-Man Jones get?
I've told you my Pac-Man Jones story, right?
Where did you see him in the Bahamas?
Pac-Man Jones story?
Yeah. No, we were in the oh yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, we saw Pac-Man Jones in the Bahamas, and then he kind of joins up with us, and so we're going to the nightclub that night, and he meets us in our little section and stuff. And I tell people this all the time: don't ever judge anybody by what you hear in the media, okay? Because that may not be that guy. You just get this media from up close and personal, dap up and shake hands and talk to him for a few hours. Adam Pac-Man Jones is everything that you've ever seen in the media about him.
Whoa!
I'm not the media guy writing. Adam Pac-Man Jones was about as wild as you could be. Volatile is what happened. Really,
wow.
1 second we're chatting with him and he's super cool, and in the next second he's trying to fight a friend of mine.
Really?
Wow. And I looked at my friend and I go, what the hell just happened there? And he goes, I don't know. We were like 1 second we're singing the lyrics to this song, and then the next 2 minutes later he wants to fight me over something. And I looked at him and go, man, Adam Pac-Man Jones is volatile. Turns out that's the truth. He's a volatile guy. He was cool when he was cool, and when he wasn't cool, kind of scary.
Cool.
Kind of scary.
All right, straight ahead, Adam Shadoff, Fox 35 Sports anchor, is going to join us. We'll ask him a number of questions. We'll play Shout Out with Shadoff. One of the questions, should more coaches be like Dan Mullen, who yesterday made public his COVID vaccination and encouraged others to do the same? That's next on Open Mic.
Open Mic. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Who has the best radio show in town? Come on, Nick. Tell us.
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
Put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Welcome back to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog, sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel, joined as always by Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, Austin Pastolka, the Sultan of Sound. Also auditioning for a job on Open Mic is the Prince of Production, Kelly Velez. Woo! Together we are Open Mic, the quadruple, quintuplet, whatever we
quartet, the quadruple quartet.
Yeah. The quartet of sports talk radio excellence in the megalopolis we know as Central Florida. We want to hear from you. You can give us a call the old-fashioned way if you want, 407-916-8255. You can tweet us at 96.9 The Game. You can also go vote on all of our Twitter polls at 96.9 The Game. You can also text us on our Academy Sports and Outdoors text line, 50857. Your next chance to win $1,000 coming up at 8:10 a.m. this morning. We call it the Game Day Payday. Just listen for the keyword. When you hear the keyword, head to our website, 969thegame.com. Enter that word. It's that easy, and it's presented by International Diamond Center. All right, so there's some COVID news out there. The PGA Tour is telling its players they will not have to be tested for the coronavirus if they are vaccinated, and those who aren't will have to pay for their own tests starting this summer. Are they going to be able to afford having to actually pay for their own tests? Oh, my gosh. Wow. Can Rory McIlroy afford it? I mean, whew. Man, they're going to have to pay for their own tests. Wow. That's taking a stand, PGA Tour. The other COVID news yesterday. So I got myself, I gave myself a goofball a couple of weeks ago after UCF spring game. If you guys remember, and we played the clip a couple weeks ago, we're getting ready to play it again in a minute, but you know, Gus Malzahn, new UCF head coach, spring game. After the spring game, he holds his press conference, and the Bulldog was trying to make a little small talk at the end of the press conference. And, well, just play the clip.
You get vaccinated?
No.
You got it?
I don't know yet.
Kansas.
Yeah, and then somebody broke in after the awkward moment when I asked Gus Malzahn if he was going to get vaccinated, and then I asked him the follow-up question. And he said no, and then I asked him the follow-up question, are you going to? And he goes, I haven't decided yet.
Arguably the best follow-up question in sports, just post-game history.
Yeah. That was the worst in sports history. I should have just stopped after question one when it was awkward, and then I doubled the awkwardness by asking the second question. I wish it had been the Gators spring game, because if I'd have asked Dan Mullen that question, he would have said, yeah, I got vaccinated. In fact, on Twitter yesterday, Dan Mullen put out a tweet, had a picture of himself, had his Gator pullover shirt or his golf shirt pulled up, had his sleeve up, and the doctor was inserting the COVID-19 vaccination needle. I don't know what kind he got, Pfizer, Moderna, whatever, Johnson & Johnson. Don't know which one he got, but he put out a tweet of him getting vaccinated yesterday, and it said, you know, got the vaccine, hashtag chomp out COVID. Chomp out COVID. So that was Dan Mullen. Everybody remembers Dan Mullen got into some hot water during last college football season in the middle of the raging pandemic when he said, hey, let's pack the swamp. Let's pack the swamp with 95,000 people after the Texas A&M game. Let's pack the swamp. Well, Dan Mullen now saying, hey, I got vaccinated, and the message was clear. The message was clear to Gator fans. Go get vaccinated. Chomp out COVID. I think that was the message anyway. Now, he didn't come right out and say, hey, you need to get vaccinated too, but it was sort of a public service announcement for Dan Mullen to put that out there, and it got me to thinking, why haven't more coaches been more public about getting vaccinated? But, when the pandemic first started, how many coaches did we have putting out these public service announcements? Hey, this is how you wash your hands. Make sure you wash your hands for 20 seconds. Soap them up really good. And then they would show a video of the coach washing his hands and being really thorough about washing his hands. Why haven't we seen more public service announcements of coaches saying, hey, you want to chomp out COVID, you need to go get vaccinated? Why? Is it political? Is that what it is, Adam Reardon?
Yeah, I think definitely it'd be political. I think that political, and then you recognize, listen, here at the University of Florida, or up at the University of Florida, I would say that a good 50% at least of your fan base is probably right-leaning. And so if you come out in support of vaccinations when there is a large faction of that political leaning that doesn't believe in vaccinations, there's a chance you could alienate some of your fans.
But I know a lot of right-leaning people who've been vaccinated.
Yeah, but they're the sort of the silent. I don't know if they're the minority or majority on that side. Whereas liberals get vaccinated, and we're posting our vaccination cards online. We're like waving it around like like we just won the lottery with it or something like that.
This is my get out of jail free card. You can't even get out of my house free.
I carry mine around like Ed McMahon brought it, like from the Publishers Clearinghouse van. I just keep it in front of me at all times. But
laminated around my neck at all times.
It's crazy because it just has become such like a divisive topic. You know what I mean? I wonder if it was like this with polio back in the day. Like, hell no, polio! What are you crazy? I'm not putting polio in me. That's nuts.
Just because FDR had polio doesn't mean I'm gonna get it.
That's right.
I said, I don't like polio cheese. What are you talking about? Polio.
Yeah, was polio ever the polio vaccine, the measles vaccine? Were those ever like?
No, because like the Pony Express didn't sort of carry news the way Twitter does nowadays.
Yeah, not anybody can post on the Pony Express.
Yeah. It is incredible. We are the only country in the world who's managed to politicize a pandemic and a vaccination, for that matter.
I wonder if it's like that everywhere else, though. I think I would say I got English friends who I think there's two sides over there as well. I just think that's how we are as a society now. Everything is cut down the middle, and you've got to choose your side. I think that's like that all around the world right now. Sadly, we can't even agree on things like that, but.
I think we all agree, though, that Dan Mullen was probably the last coach we thought would, be, Mr. COVID vaccine, and let's make it public. And, because, again, he got all sorts of hot water with that pack the swamp comment. I mean, a lot of people thought, oh, this guy must not think COVID is serious. So, again, it's sort of amazing how Dan Mullen with one vaccine picture has changed the image of himself.
Well, remember I'm sorry. We asked if he would walk that back. This is the ultimate walk back of that comment. Look at me, I got vaccinated.
Absolutely.
All right, let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach. Listen live on iHeartRadio. Now. No, seriously, do it now.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
It's TV time on Open Mic.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Let's hear from Fox 35's own Adam Shadoff.
Adam Shadoff, you can watch him on the Fox 35 Sports Zone every weeknight around 11:30. You can also watch the Fox 35 Sports Zone on Sundays at 10:30. Adam Shadoff, how are you this morning?
I'm fine. How are you, Bianchi?
Good. We've been. I know you're a big soccer aficionado. We've been talking a lot of soccer with this new European Super League and all the controversy it's creating. How do you feel about that, by the way?
I think that it is a bunch of what I would call legacy teams that aren't playing as well as they have in the past. That have sour grapes about that, and because they're not getting into the Champions League as much as they used to, and they decided to take their ball and go create their own league so that they could get the money that they had been used to getting.
Sounds like college football.
Yeah. Well, college, yeah, I'm not sure. Your analogy, I'm not so sure about your analogy, but yeah, I mean, because college football, the playoff teams are, it's tough because it's not the same. These are teams like, it's like if the Dallas Cowboys, who haven't been making the playoffs a lot lately, and who else is a legacy team?
It would be like this. It would be like if college football, like the top 2 or 3 teams from each of the major conferences said, hey, guess what, Vanderbilt, we're leaving you behind. Alabama, Georgia, Florida, they're splitting off to go join Ohio State and Michigan, it's sort of like that, right?
Kind of, except they're going to still play each other in the regular season. It's bizarre. It's a bizarre. At this point, there's been so much backlash. I wouldn't be surprised if it just folds, but there's so much money in it for these big owners. The only people that it really is going to help are the owners and the owners' lawyers and the bankers, and that's who it's going to really help.
And the players who play for that Super League too, they're going to get more money as well. Let's do a little shout out with Shadoff, shall we?
Shout it out from the rooftop. Woo-hoo! It's time for the Shadoff shout out.
It's the Shadoff shout out this week, brought to you by Frank Gay Services. If you need an electrician or a plumber and you need them right now, you can go to frankgayservices.com. They will hook you up with all of your plumber and electrician needs. That's frankgayservices.com. Let's start off with do we have another question about? No, we don't. All right, here we go. A thought-provoking daily poll. Should all college and pro coaches have follow the lead of Gators football coach Dan Mullen and get the COVID vaccine? Yes or no, Mike?
Absolutely. I mean, yes. I mean, you're an example for your players. Your sport almost got shut down last year because of COVID. It got disrupted and distracted, and there were all these protocols, and games got canceled. Even coaches like Mike Norvell at Florida State and Dan Mullen got COVID during the course of the year. Their players had outbreaks. Of course, they should get vaccinated and set an example, not only for their players, but their fan bases as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with Bianchi, and for all those reasons, not only that, but they all want fans back in the stands, and it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to have a full-capacity stadium if you have the majority of everybody vaccinated. And yes, you are the person that people look to, for good or bad reasons, people look to these coaches as a role model, even though, they shouldn't be looking at them for anything health related, but they are. So if they see every one of these coaches getting a COVID vaccination, they understand it's safe. More people are going to get vaccinated, which leads to fuller stands for the games, which is what we all want to see.
With 79% of the vote, yes, they should all get the COVID vaccine. And you should too, listener. Get the COVID vaccine. Supplemental poll number 1, is Brandon Kravitz being an ugly American or a realistic voice of reason when he says 0-0 draws, like the one between Orlando City and Atlanta United in the MLS season opener, are unwatchable for American sports fans? They're unwatchable or they're absolutely watchable? Adam?
Well, I mean, I don't think he's being unreasonable as far as American sports fans. I like watching soccer games, and I watch a lot of soccer. I don't want to watch a 0-0 draw. Fans in Europe would rather see some goals and more excitement than a 0-0 draw. So he's right. I'm with him there. It's no longer an American thing. It's just a boring thing.
No, he's being an ugly American. Obviously, 0-0 soccer games. It's not like these are the norm. Okay, it's not like 0-0 soccer games or these things happen all the time. And as Adam Reardon so aptly put it earlier, is Brandon Kravitz ripping? We've had 2 no-hitters in baseball this year. Is he ripping baseball? Oh, who wants to see a no-hitter? Who wants to see that? We want to see a 10-9 baseball game over a no-hitter. No. No, sometimes you want to see defensive battles. In college football, sometimes you want to see that SEC defensive slobber knocker instead of some 49-48, game in the Western Athletic Conference. Give me a break. No, 0-0. There's a certain beauty about 0-0. That's why they call it the beautiful game.
With 69% of the vote, nice, they're unwatchable. Supplemental poll number 2. Will Steph Curry, after breaking Kobe Bryant's record last night by scoring at least 30 or more points in 11 straight games, go down as the greatest point guard in NBA history? Steph is the GOAT of point guards, he's great, but not the greatest of all time. Mike.
Come on. Again, prisoners of the moment here. Let me tell you about a man named Robert Joseph Cousy, all right? The great Bob Cousy. Let me tell you about Cousy, all right?
Who you go with?
Cousy. How many championships did Cousy win when he was playing with Bill Russell, all right? Cousy set the table for the great Bill Russell. Cousy is the greatest point guard of all time, even though I'm even too young to have seen Bob Cousy play.
That's a weird. Bob Cousy is a weird argument. I'm going with Magic Johnson. The guy could play basically every position back then. He was the original super tall point guard. He did it all, scoring, assists, and all that. That's really great. He's probably going to end up as one of the top 3-ish point guards of all time, but it's mostly about shooting and scoring for Steph, whereas other guys, especially guys like Magic, did it all.
And Cousy.
For me, it's Magic. For me, it's Magic Johnson.
Goodness. 64% of the vote says he's great, but not the greatest of all time.
Come on, guys.
Being Steph Curry with the shot, being cooking with the sauce, Chef Curry with the pot, boy.
That's right.
He's the greatest shooter.
Yeah.
How about we just give him the greatest shooter of all time and be done with it?
Yeah, Drake doesn't have a line about Bob Cousy.
Yeah, how many rap songs is Bob Cousy in? Huh?
Why don't you play me some Frank Sinatra singing about Bob Cousy, please?
I'm sorry, what?
Ain't this a doozy? Pass the ball like Bob Cousy.
Supplemental poll number 3. After Zion Williamson was raving about playing at Madison Square Garden the other night, do you think he will end up playing for the Knicks within the next 3 years? Woo! Yes or no, keep dreaming. Adam.
I think he's probably going to end up at one of the big teams in the next few years, and it looks like New York is on its way back to being a really good team, and it's in a big market, and they can probably throw some cash at him. I'll put it this way, I wouldn't be surprised, so I'll go with yes.
Adam, yes.
As sad as much as I hate the New York teams and how they get so much publicity and exposure even though they don't deserve it, and I hate how the big markets are dominating basketball right now. The Lakers, everybody wants to play in LA or New York. As much as I hate it, hell yes, he's going to end up in New York. You know he is. I mean, he's glowing about Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball. He's going to leave New Orleans high and dry, just like AD did, to go to a big market. And then the good thing, though, is that means Stan Van Gundy will be back here in Orlando on our show every Tuesday in about 3 years.
Give me a hell yeah!
With 51% of the vote, no, keep dreaming wins this one, but just barely. Supplemental poll number 4. Where does UFC rank among your favorite sports? Is it number 1, top 3, between 4 and 9, or 10 or below? Mike.
Well, first of all, I don't follow 10 sports, all right? So
you don't follow darts, World's Strongest Man?
Obviously football, college, and NFL. Basketball, NBA, and college basketball. NASCAR would rank above UFC. Golf would rank above UFC. Baseball,
as he names 10 sports.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go. I think that's about all I can name. I would put UFC over hockey, so I'm gonna go 4 to 9.
Man, I watched so little UFC now. When I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, working, they have one of the greatest camps there, one of the greatest coaches and training camps, and that's Jackson Winklejohn, and they have all these big names, and I would cover all these people, and I would watch it, and I was really into it, and now I just have no interest at all. I virtually never watch UFC. I'm really not all that interested in it at all. I'm more interested in watching like these freak celebrity things like that Jake Paul thing. I mean, at least seeing the highlights of that than I am UFC.
Yeah.
As sad as that is, I would rather see those highlights. The UFC is way down on my list now.
With 59% of the vote, 10 or below.
Wow.
And finally, the open mic Would You Rather poll. Would you rather resurrect your favorite canceled show of all time for one season or cancel your most hated show? Adam.
Wow. Okay, so this is a psychology question, really, is what this is. Let's think about this, right? Because this just says more about what kind of a person you are. I got to go with I'd rather resurrect my favorite show because that's going to give me pleasure to watch my favorite show. Who cares? I'm not even my most hated show. I'm not watching. I don't care about that. All that is it may give someone else joy that likes that show. So why would I want to cancel that? I'd rather bring back my favorite show for a season so I can get some pleasure out of that.
It's a good man right there.
Here comes Mike. Mike?
First of all, I don't watch any current shows except for like Sports Center and sporting events. So this is easy for me. I'd rather resurrect my favorite show, Gilligan's Island, or I Love Lucy. Great shows like
hit
that.
that sound.
I mean, they don't make sitcoms like that anymore. I want to watch my Bob Cousy highlights in Gilligan's Island, okay?
Ah, yes,
there
my
you go.
favorite
and
show.
listen to the Andrews sisters, too.
Yes. I love going to the picture shows when they show me all the Charlie Chaplin films. I tell you what.
Lucille Ball is a laugh a minute.
There's nobody funnier than the great Lucille Ball back in her day. Vegemite Vegemin. Did you ever see that episode? Oh, my God.
He's naming episodes out here, folks.
Goodness.
Oh, man. Yes.
Well, I thought he was joking around at first, and then he named an actual episode, which is so serious now.
Oh, man.
What's the one where they had to do the chocolates and stuff, and they ended up eating them all off the conveyor belt?
That was
fantastic.
Classic episode.
Or when they were in Italy and she was making wine and she was stomping the grapes.
Incredible. Comedy gold right there. 80% of the vote says they would resurrect their favorite show, and that is the Shadoff shout-out for today.
Wow.
Adam Shadoff, we will see you on the Fox 35 Sports Zone, my friend.
You're so old school. See you, man.
All right, straight ahead, Dante will join us. Dante Magic will join us for the magic word. That's next on Open Mic.
I've come here to say one magic word to you.
Say the magic word.
What is the magic word?
I wish I could play professional basketball.
Then I'll just say the magic words.
Orlando Magic. Every Tuesday, we have an Orlando Magic, what do we call it? Celebrity, personality to give us the magic word. Today, we get the magic word from the great Dante Marchitelli. You can listen to him host Magic Drive Time right here on this very station every weekday afternoon, 6 p.m. It starts. You can also watch him as part of the Magic TV broadcast on Fox Sports Florida. Like tonight, you can see Dante as the Magic take on the Atlanta Hawks. Dante, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, guys. When I'm on here, it's a personality. But when you get David Steele and Jeff Turner and Matt Lowe, those are the celebrities. That's when we upgrade to celebrity status.
By the way, yeah, no, you're a celebrity as well, Dante. So I was on the Orlando Magic Twitter feed the other day, and you guys tell us about the podcast that you guys do at OrlandoMagic.com, because you guys had a picture of Jack Nicholson sort of saying, guess who we have on the podcast? Did you guys have Jack Nicholson on, or was that clickbait?
No, that was clickbait. Yep, exactly right. And now we get to talk about it on the show, which is a big deal. we just wanted that GIF or whatever the kids call it. It was JJ Redick. So it's me, David Steele, Jeff Turner, and George Galante. The four of us do Orlando Magic Pod Squad, which you can find on the iHeart podcast platform, by the way, which is fantastic. Kudos to Travis and all the guys that made that happen. Yeah,
there you go.
And then we have exactly, and we had JJ Redick. So that was the last one, and fans had a lot of fun with that with JJ.
How was JJ?
He's good. He's good. You know, he made the comment. He's probably on the 18th hole, 19th hole. So I kind of got the impression, you know, if not this year, maybe he has one more year that he would play, but. He broke down his time in Orlando, obviously how special these 7 years were. And then, his thought was, and fans will have fun with it, you go back and look at it, but, we remember that 2009 team that went to the finals. His contention, and we talked about this for a while, was that team that next year was better, much better, and should have gone and won a championship. That was his feeling. But they ran into that buzzsaw with the Boston Celtics, and it went down 3-0 right away. And so, but he thinks that team, they cruised through the first two rounds of the playoffs, and then just ran into a really good Celtics team that went on to play the Los Angeles Lakers and beat them. So it was it was a good story. It was a lot of fun to get into and kind of reminisce on his time here in Orlando and his NBA career.
All right, Dante, obviously you work for the Magic. You host Magic Drive Time. You're part of the Magic broadcast. You are an influencer when it comes to Magic fans and how they think and how they should think. All right, so the Magic are 3.5 games out of the last place in the league, all right, which means you get the most ping pong balls in the draft lottery. Is it okay for Magic fans at this point to want their team to finish in last?
Well, I think that's where it's at. I think a lot of fans are headed that direction. It's very hard for me, and I can't sit there and watch the game and root for them to lose. That's just it's not in me. I'm not wired that way. But what did I do? I watched Detroit play the Cavs last night, and I cheered like heck for Detroit to get that 18th win, which ties the Magic. So now they're kind of that all has lottery implications. So. For me, I think you should always root for your team to win and kind of let the chips fall where they may afterwards. But there's a lot of fans that are certainly are into it. They're entitled to that too. They're just here down the stretch. Where are we going to finish? You decided to go this direction, and we've never really been this, adamant about it. Like, let's really go all in. Let's try to take a shot at and see let the chips fall where they may, and can they possibly get in that top three? And I guess why that's so important is. If you have one of the worst three records in the NBA, then all three of those teams have the exact same percentage of getting in the top four, which is a 52% chance. So if you finish in the bottom three, you have a 52% chance of getting a top four pick or a 14% chance of getting the number one pick. And that doesn't matter. It used to have to be the worst record, gave you the better odds. Second, it's all the exact same 1 through 3. So I think you're seeing a lot of teams that are probably going to, push here the last couple of weeks to try and be in that race as well. But hey, that happens off the court. The guys that are on the court are playing hard, and the players are trying to win. The coach is trying to win. Everybody's trying to win and establish a winning culture. But hey, if you play hard, and at the end of the day, I think fans are enjoying what they're seeing with the fight from these guys, and you kind of can't lose, I guess, with some fans. If they win, great, and if not, then you kind of look at where they end up in the lottery.
All right, Dante, obviously we're seeing a lot of great young players in the league. Obviously, Jason Tatum stands out. We see what's happening in New Orleans with their young star. I'm just curious, from what you're hearing, is there a guy like that in the draft?
Well,
or do we know?
Like there could be a couple of them. It could be a couple of them, Mike. There could be a couple of guys. I mean, this thing could go 5, 6, 7 players deep. With all the talent that's in there. But, you see the Cade Cunninghams, the Evan Mobleys, Jalen Suggs just declared yesterday, Jalen Green, who was playing with the G League Ignite team. Then, you kind of look at Kuminga and Kispert as a senior. I mean, there's a lot of players that have already declared, and you start looking at it and saying, this is a very deep draft. This is a draft that has a lot of teams pretty excited about the talent that could come in and change and turn around a franchise. But the problem is, it is a draft, and you don't know. We look back at it. We remember Andrew Wiggins and Jabari Parker were kind of supposed to be franchise changers. And you know what I mean? They're good, solid players, but Jabari just came back into the league, had injuries, and Wiggins is a solid player, but you just don't know. You just don't know because a lot of these guys play 1-2 years, and you're taking a shot at. But if you look at the talent, there's a lot of GMs and a lot of teams around the league, and certainly a lot of fans that get excited about the top 5, 6, 7 players in this draft. And then I think what's great about the Magic is, hopefully you're going to get a pick in the top 3 or 4. And then you're going to pick again with Chicago. You're going to be right around 9 or 10. So one of those other guys that that falls just out of the top 5 or 6, you can take a flyer on them. So between those two, the Magic should be in a pretty good spot this time next year.
All right, last one. Obviously, one of the great young players in the league, Zion Williamson. So the other night, they're playing at Madison Square Garden, and Zion Williamson, after the game, had this to say.
New York is the mecca of basketball. I love playing. I love playing here. When I played here in college, and this is my first time playing here in the pros. And I mean, this atmosphere, whether they're cheering for you, whether they're booing for you, it's amazing. Honestly, I think outside of New Orleans, obviously, I think this might be my favorite place to play outside of New Orleans. I can't even lie to you. I can't lie to you.
Can't lie to him.
All right, Kelly Velez, our producer today, he's a big Knicks fan. All right, Dante, a lot of Knicks fans going crazy over those comments. Is Zion going to end up in New York?
No, I don't see any way. Maybe down the road when he becomes a free agent, but he'll be restricted. They'll give him the max. I mean, you're talking, this is at least 3, 4, 5 years away if he has any chance to go to New York whatsoever. But I think it's kind of cool. I mean, anyone that's been to Madison Square Garden can certainly relate to all of that, and as a player, it is. It's a great atmosphere. It's fun to be there and hear the fans and all that. And I think he was given an honest answer. And I think, we want these guys to be honest. And then when they are on it, right? I mean, as journalists, Mike, right? When we go in the locker room and ask that question and get that answer, doesn't that fire us up? That's an honest answer. That's great. But
no, I want him to say, I love Disney World. I want to be in Orlando. That's what I want to hear.
Well, who knows what the future holds? But I hear you. I hear what you're saying. But I thought that was refreshing. And you knowing Stan Van Gundy as well as you do, I think Zion not fouling at the end of that game. Can you imagine how upset he was when that game ended and they didn't listen to his instructions? But
or Lonzo Ball not guarding the 3, yeah.
There's 3 or 4 teams Zion hasn't played yet still, and the Magic are one of them. We've not seen Zion, and that would come up here on Thursday if he's able to play in that game. I think New York was another one of those teams too, so he'd never played there. So I think he's just getting a genuine reaction afterwards. But who knows? Hey, at some point, he may want to go there, and he may be able to force his hand. Who knows?
The great Dante Marchitelli. You can catch him on Magic Drive Time, 6 p.m. today. You can also catch him on coverage of the Magic game on Fox Sports Florida tonight. Magic taking on the Atlanta Hawks. Dante, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Mike, and not to confuse, we're now Bally Sports Florida, so not to confuse anybody. If you're looking for it and don't see Fox on the guide, It's now Bally Sports Florida. Same coverage, same team, same everything, but just a new name. We're excited about the new direction. But thank you, Mike. Awesome job. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
I did not know that. Bally Sports Florida?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they changed it up.
This happened, like last month? Something like that?
Yeah.
It's recent. It's very recent.
It's very recent.
Wow. Okay. All right. Did not know that. Wow. I just turn on the Magic games and they're in progress, and I don't really notice.
When you think Bally's, do you think of the casino or
gambling?
Or the isn't Bally's also like a work?